Ronald Reagan, the 40th President of the United States, served from 1981 to 1989 and significantly influenced the country's economy, foreign policy, and social landscape. His presidency marked a shift towards conservatism, emphasizing free market policies, reduced government intervention, and a strong stance against communism. While his supporters credit him with revitalizing the American economy and playing a key role in ending the Cold War, critics argue that his policies increased income inequality, expanded the national debt, and led to controversial foreign interventions. Reagan inherited a struggling economy plagued by high inflation, rising unemployment, and slow growth. To address these issues, he introduced a set of economic policies known as Reaganomics, which focused on four main principles: reducing taxes, cutting government spending, deregulating industries, and controlling the money supply to curb inflation. His administration implemented significant tax cuts, most notably the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981, which lowered individual and corporate tax rates. The idea was that by reducing the tax burden on businesses and the wealthy, investments would increase, leading to economic growth and job creation. This supply-side economic approach, often referred to as trickle-down economics, was based on the belief that wealth generated at the top would eventually benefit all levels of society. Government spending was another major area of focus. While Reagan increased military expenditures, he aimed to reduce spending on social programs, arguing that welfare dependency was harming economic growth. Funding for programs such as food stamps, public housing, and Medicaid was cut, affecting lower-income Americans. Supporters of these cuts argued that they encouraged self-reliance and reduced government waste, while critics contended that they disproportionately hurt the most vulnerable populations. Deregulation was a key component of Reagan's economic vision. His administration worked to reduce federal regulations on industries such as banking, telecommunications, and energy, believing that excessive government oversight stifled innovation and economic efficiency. While deregulation contributed to business growth and a booming stock market, it also led to problems such as the savings and loan crisis, in which hundreds of financial institutions failed due to risky lending practices. Inflation, which had been a major concern in the late 1970s, declined significantly during Reagan's presidency, thanks in part to tight monetary policies implemented by the Federal Reserve. By the mid-1980s, the economy experienced strong growth, unemployment decreased, and consumer confidence improved. However, Reagan's policies also resulted in a dramatic increase in the national debt. Despite his emphasis on reducing government spending, the combination of tax cuts and military expenditures led to budget deficits that tripled the national debt by the time he left office. Reagan's foreign policy was shaped by the Cold War, and he took a firm stance against the Soviet Union, which he famously referred to as the evil empire. He believed that the best way to defeat communism was through military strength and economic pressure. Under his leadership, the United States significantly increased defense spending, funding new weapons systems and expanding the military. One of his most ambitious projects was the Strategic Defense Initiative (SDI), often called the Star Wars program, which aimed to develop space-based missile defense systems to counter Soviet nuclear threats. Although it was never fully realized, it pressured the Soviet economy, contributing to their eventual decline. In Latin America, Reagan's administration intervened in conflicts to combat the spread of communism, supporting anti-communist forces in Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Grenada. However, his foreign policy faced a major scandal known as the Iran-Contra affair, where his administration secretly sold weapons to Iran and used the profits to fund Contra rebels in Nicaragua. Bypassing Congress, this led to a political crisis, raising serious questions about executive power and government transparency.